welcome back. My name is Caitlin and I love all things beauty. Today I just want to do a really quick get ready with me using all of the products that I've been loving recently, and more specifically products that help me feel a little bit just overall better. My skin is not in the best place right now. I've got some breakouts. I've been occasionally picking at my skin, but you know, that's life. And I've got some freshly dyed hair and freshly dyed eyebrows, so if my eyebrows are looking a little bit strong, that's why. I just dyed them. They fade pretty quickly, like within a day or so they start to look a little bit more natural. But let's just go ahead and get started. The eyebrow gel that I've been using and loving is the it's a brow and edge gel. I don't use it in my hair. I probably could. I have like a lot of little baby broken hairs around my face, but I don't really care too much about them being slicked back. I don't ever do like a slicked back hairstyle. But I've been really loving this brow gel. It's a really good contender to replace the Patrick Ta. I've talked about this many a time, especially in my empties when I've gone through a lot of them. But the Patrick Ta brow gel has been my favorite in terms of like hold and longevity. It gives a little bit of a crisp to the eyebrows, but that's kind of what I like. I like to be able to touch it and then feel a little bit crunchy. This does that. It provides a little bit less crunch, I would say, than the Patrick Ta, but this is like a giant tube of it. You get 16 mils, and I believe the Patrick Ta, hold, I have a backup. All right, the Patrick Ta, you get 2.5 mils, and I always get the mini size. I find that you can use more of the product before it starts getting gummy and goopy. So 2.5 mils, and I believe it's $12 or $15. And this one you get 16 mils, and I believe it's $12 or $15. And I got this at Ulta. I'm sure they still have it there. But this has been great, and I feel like I've had it open for quite a few months, maybe 4 months at least. And it hasn't really started doing that goopiness. One thing that I would caution if you're hesitant about fragrances and things, it does have a bit of a like fruity kind of watermelon scent, maybe. Like it smells like a hair product a little bit, but I actually kind of only just noticed the fragrance in it a couple weeks ago. Before that I hadn't been noticing it, and like as soon as I put it on my brows, like I don't smell it unless I have it like up to my face smelling it. So this has been really great. Right, and I'm just gonna kind of do my makeup how I normally do it on a day-to-day basis. The only thing, so like basically I'm using all of my favorite base products. For the eyeshadow, I mix it up a lot. I've been getting a lot of indie eyeshadow palettes in recently. A lot of them had been like pre-orders, so like they're all kind of coming at the same time. But today I'm going to be using the Nomad Ireland Wild Atlantic Way. I was actually really lucky enough to receive this as a winner of a giveaway. So on Instagram, as they were leading up to the reveal of this palette, they were doing posts of like guessing like the location or the name of the palette or like the country of the palette or whatever. So I guessed correctly on one of the posts and I won the palette. Like as soon as I saw the first post and I basically concluded that it was Ireland, and seeing the green, I'm just like, yes, please sign me up. So eyeshadow palette, I will be using this. Just gonna curl my lashes. I've had quite a few eyelash curlers over the years, but the one that I've just been using a lot of is the Tweezerman one. I have the Shuamura ones, but the pad in it like wore down, and the like backup replacement pads that I have don't fit in it, but they do fit in the Tweezerman. I honestly don't know if I can tell the difference between one curler from the next, but this one has been working fine. On an everyday basis, I do my eyeshadow first, and even though I'm doing it first, I still generally put these little eyeshadow shields on. I've just noticed that I don't want to be bothered to have to deal with cleanup, and like I very well could. I have a micellar water that I keep out on my vanity, and I could very well just like clean it up, but then I feel like I wipe away my skincare that's there, and I don't want to have to like go put more skincare on. So I just use these. Eyeshadow primer that I'm using is the Urban Decay. It works fine. There's a few eyeshadow primers that I rotate between, but the Urban Decay one is one that I've just been trying to use up. And it works fine, and I've had multiple over the years. Like I think this is my third little tube of it that I've gone through. The day that I'm filming this is actually St. Patrick's Day, so which is another reason why I kind of wanted to use this palette. And I'm gonna go for, I think, a halo eye, and obviously sticking with greens. Like green is my go-to recently. The first color that I'm gonna use is the Wild Atlantic Way, and I'm just gonna build this on the outer and inner part of the lid. And a little bit like higher than my crease, but kind of connecting them a little bit. I really like the formula of the Nomad eyeshadows, especially the mattes. I've just found them to be really easy to work with and blendable, and just overall nice. I'm also going to take this on the lower lash line a little bit. And the brush that I was using for that is the Sephora Pro Crease Brush number 24. I'm going to go in with a little bit of it's like a cross between a pencil brush and a blending brush. It's the Unit 201. And I'm going to go in with Blarney Stone to deepen up the green that I've already put down. There is a little bit of fallout with this shade, but mostly because I didn't like knock off the brush after I put the shadow on. All right, so for the shimmer that I'm going to use in the center. I'm debating between the green shimmer, which is called Tweet, don't know, and Slane, I don't know. So let's see. So, I think I want to keep it green, so I'm going to use the Tweet, and I'm just using my finger for it. I apply mostly all shimmers with my finger. I will use a brush though to put it on the lower lash line. I'm going to use the Rephr 23, which is like a super teeny tiny pencil brush. I'm going to go back in with that Sephora Pro brush and the shade Malin Head, just to sort of blend a bit like up to my brow bone. It was just looking a little bit stark from like where the green ended in my skin tone. So I am liking how the just super monochrome green is looking, but just to add a little bit more of a pop just on the center, I am going to go in with that Slane shade and just very like right in the center. It's adding just like a tiny bit more dimension, and again on the lower lash line, just in the very tiny center. For eyeliners on the waterline, I pulled a few. I got some greens, but then I also pulled a pure white and then like an off-white. So the greens that I have are the Sephora Sea Green Matte, the Odin's Eye Salmaine, it's just number 6. I think it has an actual shade name, but it doesn't say it on the packaging. And then a NYX Vivid Rich in Emerald Empire. And then the whites that I chose are the NYX Epic Smoke in White Smoke and the ColourPop in Exit. Okay, so ColourPop, the NYX, that's the emerald one. That one is the Odin's Eye, and the very bottom is the Sephora. So I think I can rule out the Sephora and the Odin's Eye. The Odin's Eye is a little bit more swampy than I want, and the Sephora is a little bit more mint than I want. So I think I might use that NYX, the Emerald Empire. I like that like solidified it all together. So let's put some mascara on. So actually the mascara that I had been loving is the L'Oreal Telescopic Lift waterproof one, but it has officially done all that it can do. It's dried up and pretty much empty. So I will go in with the Maybelline Rocket Volume Express one, which is like an all-time favorite. I've gone through so many of them. Another one that I have been using is the L'Oreal Panorama, but I don't like it on its own right now. That might change the more that it dries up, but currently if I wear that one on its own, I don't like how my lashes look. For my base, just like my go-to combination, pretty much for like the last several months, has been mixing the L'Oreal Redness Eraser with the Auric Glow Lust, and this is in the shade Morganite. Both of them are about, I think there's like a fourth left in both, but I like the little bit of green color corrector that the L'Oreal provides, and just like the finish that it provides on the skin. And then I love the Auric one because it just like provides the glowiness, but two, it provides a little bit of actual coverage. And I find that, like, for the most part, if my skin isn't doing the best, one, I don't want to like cake it up with a bunch of stuff, but I do want to get the coverage that like makes me feel a little bit better. So I like going in with the Auric first because it does provide a little bit of coverage without adding a lot of like weight on the skin. And then once I have that on, I can kind of see like how heavy I need to go with the other stuff that I put on. So the complexion product that I've been going to recently is the Missha Perfect Cover BB Cream, and I mixed the shades 13 and 21. 21 has the grayness that I need, like the desaturatedness of the tone, like the color, and 13 provides just a little bit more lightness because 21 on its own can be a little bit too dark. So I kind of just put it on my face. And because I've been having breakouts, I'm generally using like actives to help clear that up, which can make the skin around the spots a little bit dry, especially if I've been picking at them. So I go in with a sponge just to like, well, one, help kind of shear out the product. Like I feel like it applies it kind of best, and you don't get like the dry skin fluff up with that you would with if you're using a brush to blend it out. Another thing that I sometimes do when I get to this point is I spray a little bit of face spray. I've been using the Physicians Formula, the Essence of Healthy toner and setting spray. It's got the galactomyces ferment filtrate, which I feel like sometimes helps when my skin isn't really doing the greatest. So I kind of just spray a little bit of that before I go in with the sponge. I find that this Missha BB cream just also provides a really like realistic skin finish. And I think it's like, I think it maybe says that it can be medium to full coverage, but I find like, especially if you were up close to my face, you could still see some of my freckles coming out, and like this mole, beauty mark, or whatever, you can still kind of see. But so like the spots on the chin, it doesn't fully cover. And I'm also generally not trying to like fully cover those spots. I think when you're having breakouts, the more makeup that you're putting on top of it, the heavier it can look, while still, like, you still see the actual blemish. And especially if it's like raised, like you're never gonna cover something that's not flat with your skin. So I'm aiming just to sort of like tone it down, especially toning down the redness a little bit without trying to mask it completely. I still want my skin to look like skin. And my lips are kind of feeling a little bit dry, so I'm going to put just some of this in Beauty Glaze. It's the number 1. Just to give them some moisture as I finish putting my makeup on. So concealer that I've been loving is the Tower28. I have the shade BU. And I just love the coverage and finish that this provides, and I think it pairs really nicely with the BB cream. I also like about this concealer that it kind of, like, it sets down on its own. It doesn't stay dewy or anything, but it does take powder nicely. Bronzer that I've been loving is the Phytosurgence Rosy Daybreak. Sorry, it's called the Spectral Sunlight Cream Bronzer, and I have the shade 2 Rosy Daybreak. Up close, you can kind of see that there's a divot in it, which kind of just shows that I've been loving it. I love Phytosurgence products in general, but this cream bronzer is kind of like a game changer. There's not a whole lot of rosy bronzers out there anyways, especially for my skin tone. I feel like a lot of things generally just look orange on me. Even contour products like the Fenty Matchstick in Amber, looking at it, it looks gray and cool toned, but when I actually put it on my face, it ends up looking really warm and kind of orange. So like, what does that even mean for my skin tone? Like, I've always kind of assumed that I'm cool undertones, and like more recently I've been like, yeah, I'm cool but desaturated, which is why gray toned complexion products generally match my skin better. But when I'm putting on a gray toned product and it looks orange, that I think that means that I am leaning a little bit olive. So like I'm a cool toned olive maybe, or I'm just desaturated cool. I don't know, but it makes it kind of difficult to find some types of products for me. But anyways, the Phytosurgence Rosy Daybreak bronzer is so good, and I'm using it's my fridge, makes that noise, don't know what it is, it's done it ever since I've moved in. Okay, I'm using the Soft Quill brush. And I'm not even sure how well this will like pick up on camera. It's a pretty subtle bronzer on me. I'm sure I could probably make shade 4 work, which is the next depth level up in the rosiness. So like, I don't know how much it's picking up on camera, but it just like provides a really natural looking tan for someone who's as light as I am. So love this. Blush, more Phytosurgence. Condensate. Condensate is like my all-time ride or die cream blush color, and the Phytosurgence formula is also just my all-time favorite. It looks kind of gray and like deep in the pot, but blended out, it just becomes like the perfect rosy it's such a good blush shade for me. So I'm gonna apply it with this Sky Fluff brush, which all my brushes, I really need to clean my brushes. So I kind of like to use this almost as like a sculpting blush. So I kind of keep it like further back on my cheeks. Like sometimes, like I bring it in a little bit, but I concentrate it further back, and like I do take it into my temples a little bit. I just find that it helps to sculpt my face a little bit, especially since it seems to be difficult for me to find sculpting products, especially that matchstick, the Fenty matchstick turns kind of orange on me. I have been using the e.l.f. contour wand thing, which does show up a little bit more gray and sculpting on me, but sometimes I just like to achieve the effect with blush instead. Another Phytosurgence blush, it's that like special gummy grape shade that they made, where like they sent them out if you made a purchase over a certain amount or something, and I had needed some skincare anyways, and just seeing this shade I was like, yes, I need this in my life. So I'm hoping this goes okay with the green, but just to showcase, like it is, I have been just like wearing it a lot, and this in combination with the condensate shade, perfect. I'm going to use the Rephr 04 brush to blend it out, and this one I tend to keep a little bit like more inner on my cheeks. Perfect combination. Condensate with this gummy grape. Beautiful. And another thing that's great about the Phytosurgence blushes is they're super pigmented and you don't need very much. So like one container of it is going to last you a very long time, which is fantastic. Highlighter. I have sort of just been flipping around between a bunch of different highlighters. Sometimes I'll use the ColourPop ones, and like more recently the Twilight ones I've been gravitating towards a lot. And the Phytosurgence, of course, I've used their highlighters a ton. Divine Daylight and Fresh Fog are like go-to colors for me, and I also have Mirrored Moonlight. But today, sort of just to keep it a little bit fun, I'm actually going to use the Rick and Morty one, and I think I'm going to use this Uncharted one, which is a little bit more blue. I think the blue with the green is going to look really nicely, and because I don't have like a go-to highlighter that I'm wearing every day, and some days I'll go without highlighter at all, but because I'm going to use a powder highlighter, I'm going to go ahead and powder my face. And the powder that I've just been using a ton of for months essentially is the Givenchy Prisme Libre, and I have the shade 1, Mousseline Pastel, and it's the one where, so this one has like a green, a purple, a light blue, and basically a white. So when you put it in the lid and then just sort of like mix it all around. I have been taking a little bit of a break from this for the past couple weeks. I've been switching it up. The Kosas powder I really love. I've been using the Well People Bio Brightener one if I don't want, like if I just need a little bit of powder. That one's sort of like a finishing powder for me. And the House Labs Bio Blurring one has been pretty great the past week or so. But if I'm going on like my favorite that I've been using for months, it's the Givenchy one. So I take a Wayne Goss 10. It's like a stippling brush. And I just sort of like push it on my skin, tap it kind of. And then once I sort of have it tapped, then I'll like swirl a little bit. But I generally keep it focused on the center of my face with most of the product, and then as I get a lot of the product off, I'll take the brush sort of further up my cheeks to just sort of set the cheek products. Highlighter, Rick and Morty, the shade Uncharted. And I'm going to use the Singe F07 brush. I really just, in general, been loving this brush for highlighter. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of an extreme highlighter, but I'm not going to work or anything today, so that's okay. And I actually kind of really like how it's looking with the green. Does anyone else have issues trying to match their highlighter from cheek to cheek? Because I'm left-handed and I go in with my left cheek first, I feel like the way that I swirl my brush on the left side of my face always ends up different than how I swirl it on the right side. Am I the only one? Okay. All right, highlighter done. Now, lips. I've been loving the Unearthly liquid lip, specifically in the shade Diana. It is basically kind of just gray, but like a purpley gray. I love it. So my all-time favorite liquid lip-ish color is the Blend Bunny shade in Moody. And to me, it's like my lip color, but just like a little bit more enhanced and on the cooler tone. And this one is just like a more gray version of that. So actually, let me get the Blend Bunny one and I'll swatch them next to each other. Okay, so the Blend Bunny one is on the top, and that's the Unearthly one. So I certainly think the Blend Bunny could go with this look, but I'm just really digging a gray lip. Alright, so it's gray, but I feel like you can kind of see a little bit of the like purple that's in it. I just think I don't know, I just like how it looks. And what makes these Unearthly lips a favorite is that they're pretty long lasting. They're not completely like transfer smudge proof, but I find that I'll put it on in the morning, and if I'm only drinking like a little bit throughout the morning, then it lasts like to lunch and even a little bit through lunch. And like the way that it comes off and it fades like from drinking is pretty evenly, and it doesn't look like super wonky, like, oh, you're missing it only from the middle of the lips or whatever. I find that it like fades and comes off pretty naturally. So here's the finished look. I usually do one more spray with a face spray, so since I used the Physicians formula at the beginning, I'll just use this one again. One more thing that I normally do, so I'll usually put the Milani Weekend Brow in. Since I just dyed my brows, like they don't really need it, and this is actually pretty much empty, like it's just about dried out. All right, so I really didn't need a lot of that, but the Milani has been a favorite for months. Like this lasted all of 2023, and I believe I had it open for a few months of 2022, and it's now March of 2024. So like this has lasted so long. So this is a good bang for your buck. So it's great. All right, I'm gonna go do my hair and then I'll come back and do a final look. And yeah. Okay, so here's the finished look with my hair done. I just sort of diffused it a little bit just to get it dry. And then basically just putting some oils in it. I find that after I've dyed my hair, I want to do little heat styling or as little heat styling as possible for the next little bit just to sort of give it a break after having the hair dye in it. Although I do use the Madison Reed hair dye, which is supposedly like better for your hair than other box dye that I was using like years prior. Anywho, still going through a whole hair journey. So I just dried it a little bit and put some oil in, but here is the finished look. Are you in focus? Okay. I'm really loving how the green looks, especially paired with the like dark lip. I'm just loving it all together. It is a pretty good representation of sort of what I've been doing for my eyeshadow on an everyday basis. I've really been leaning into the color. I've been leaning into indie brand eyeshadow palettes, the sparkle, the shine, the shiftiness. I'm just loving all of it. And I'm sort of at the point of like giving no F's, you know? I'm gonna wear the colorful eyeshadow because I like wearing colorful eyeshadow, and I'm not gonna let anyone tell me no. Although to be fair, it's like no one at work really gives an F about the makeup that I wear. Like I've never once had anyone comment about you need to tone it down. Like obviously if there was something that I was doing that was a little bit more, like if I needed to be interacting with like higher up people or something, then I would probably tone it down. Or like this coming week, I am actually doing a 3-day training thing so that I can become a trainer on this thing for work, which is kind of weird that I volunteered to do that because in general I don't like having to speak in front of people or like a large group of people, but I'm just getting out of my comfort zone. So anyways, I have like a 3-day training, and for that I'll probably tone it down just a little bit because I'll be interacting with people in different departments. Like I certainly wouldn't do this look. Like I'll still wear like eyeshadow, but probably just not like bright green eyeshadow. I'll probably try to keep it to a little bit more neutrals, but also like again, no one really cares. I don't know, hard to explain. Anyways, this is the finished look, the full face of makeup that I've been loving for several months, and what I tend to do if my skin isn't looking or feeling the best. I feel like you can still see the blemishes that I have, but it's just a little bit toned down, and I just feel a little bit more confident in this face of makeup. So, if you've made it to the end, thank you for watching. Is there anything that I've been loving that you also have been loving? Let me know. Did you pick up the Nomad Ireland palette? I am so appreciative of Nomad for sending it my way and for them putting on giveaways when they do their palette reveals. I think it's really great that they've been doing giveaways when they've been releasing a palette. I think it's just a great way to interact with their customers and fan base, as it were, and just knowing that you have an opportunity to get something from the brand, like they're giving back to their consumers. I've purchased from Nomad in the past, and like if I hadn't been sent this palette, I would have bought it anyways, but it may be a reason that I go on and buy another palette that I was maybe thinking about. I don't know. It's just it's a good interaction with the brand, and I'm thankful for them for sending it to me. So, again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.